What's up, everybody? Well, today's video happens to be a review video. Now, as you may know from my short that I posted the other day, I had a really iffy dude come up to my door asking me for some tinfoil at about 11:30 at night. So I might as well cover self-defense products in this particular video anyway. So for this one, I just so happen to have a T-Series holster from Blackhawk Tactical. This one was one that I had put together off of a bunch of miscellaneous parts. So it's not exactly what it looks like coming out of the box, but it is pretty much the holster in general. Now this one happens to fit a Glock 17, a Glock 22, and a Glock 31. They actually say it right here on the back, right above the Made in USA stamp right there, and it'll tell you what Glocks this particular holster fits. This is a level 2 tactical grade holster. So, with the way I have this one configured, I actually put the spacer plate in there, which is an option you can acquire to go ahead and push the holster a little farther off of the belt loops. These do fit drop leg systems and they fit belt systems. And like I said, the reason this one looks the way it is because I pieced it together from a bunch of parts. But I do also have a Glock 17 dummy pistol in here so that I can kind of show you how the locking mechanism works and just kind of talk about the retention on this particular holster. Now, my overall first impression when I saw this holster, I thought it was pretty decent. It's extremely bulky and it's really thick with the injection molding that they use on this, so it's probably pretty durable. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of weight when it comes to tactical equipment. So this particular holster, for one reason, it's too heavy and I really don't like heavy equipment. Two, I'm not really a huge fan of the locking system that they have on this for the retention. As you can see, it's not going anywhere, but I do like a different style of retention, and we'll go ahead and review that holster later on in another video. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about this. So, like I said, this is a level 2 retention, okay? Now, most people don't understand how to categorize retention levels, okay? Now, there is most, common knowledge that you go from 1 to 3. You actually go 1 to 5. And the main reason why is because retention is measured by how the firearm or weapon in general is retained to the body. So your belt loop actually acts as a retention. If you have a belt loop and a drop leg harness system, that's 2 points of retention to the holster to your body. So any additional locks on the holster are just another added level of retention. This is a level 2. 1, 2 on the inside, okay? So with this particular holster, it has a tension screw right here, so you can go ahead and tighten it down so that your firearm fits nice and snug if you don't want it to move around, like that. And then when it comes to the locking system, they actually really did a pretty decent job with making this a quick draw holster. As you can see right here on the inside, you can see right here on this plate, that right there happens to be the switch. Now this switch happens to lock right up on the trigger guard right here, so there's no worry about it actually depressing the trigger when you insert the pistol into this particular holster. They also have an added piece right here that is basically a deterrent from being able to reach into the top and hit the thumb switch. But like I said, right up in there, you can see the thumb switch right here on the inside. It comes down and it locks up on the trigger right here. Now these, honestly, they're pretty good. I would like to go ahead and do a torture test on this, throw it off some cliffs, throw it out in the road, stuff like that, smash it up against a rock, and possibly even shoot it, just to see what would happen. But overall, looking at this holster, I do have a couple of concerns. One, if you look right here on the bottom, you see the spring tension right there. This locking mechanism that's in here is literally just a compression clip system. So there's 2 little C-clips that hold a little dowel and it clips and locks in. I'd be worried about that breaking over time. It's not something that screws in. On top of that, when you reach into this particular holster, you have to come in like that. So as you grab your pistol, you see my thumb moving just like that. So as you grip this pistol, it actually hits the lock and allows you to draw the firearm. Now that honestly is a really good thing when it comes to fast drawing firearms. But in all honesty, there is a little bit of debris in there every once in a while that you'll get, and different things that could complicate that process. That's my only gripe about it. But other than that, it's honestly not that bad. It's a decent holster if you're just looking for a holster to go ahead and hold your Glock or anything like that. If you want something nice and durable, it does look like it is actually pretty durable. This is a two-piece holster, so it is fastened together and then has the retention screw on it, because when they mold these, they mold this piece and they mold that piece, so it comes out in two different pieces, and then they sandwich it together and go ahead and assemble the rest of the components. Now, they do have the option to go ahead and position this in 3 different points. So you either have your degree forward, your degree back, or straight up and down. And their drop leg systems are pretty much the same. So, with the dummy gun in here, they also have what's considered a drop test into these holsters. Now, any level 2 and level 3 system on the first retention of the pistol in the holster should always drop in place, so that if you reach and you drop, it should lock into the first set retention level of the holster. Now, this is obviously a fake plastic dummy gun, so it is not heavy enough to pass the drop test. But just to let you know, so when you're going and you're setting this retention screw right here, make sure that you can drop your pistol in and your pistol drops and locks, okay? As far as drawing, I really do kind of like it, but what I don't like about it is, like I said, you can get debris in there. If there's any other clothing or anything in here, it can impede your ability to actually draw really fast, honestly. So I'm kind of like, you know, giving this one 1 out of 10. I'll probably give this one a 6. Because I do kind of really like where they're going with this type of equipment. I just think they honestly have some weak points. One of them being the actual area, and I'll go ahead and take this apart so I could show you the inside real quick, because I don't have one that's in pieces. But I will take this apart and just kind of show you what I'm talking about when it comes to the clip systems. Okay, now there is 3 Phillips head screws on there. It makes it that easy to go ahead and fit them out. And then, as you can see, there is the spacer clip right there. So I'm going to pull that out, and then you can see the locking system in here. Okay, that's basically how it works. It's a double clip into a C channel with a dowel and a spring. So when you put this in there, you can actually see how it locks into the trigger. And then you depress this right here, and you're able to pull it right out. Like I said, this piece right here is added for basically retention from, not even retention, just it's a deterrent for anybody being able to come in. Most of these holsters I have the problem with is you can reach in like that, and there you go. So if somebody was grabbing your firearm and they knew how this worked, guess what? There's the pinky right there. Look where the pinky lines up, okay? You get a good grip on this and you're trying to take somebody's firearm, guess what happens? It ends up being a really bad situation. Now, the T-Level series does have a second type of holster, and they have what's considered their low-cut compact holster, and that's this one right here. Okay, now this one is meant to where if you want to fit an optic on it or anything like that. This one is not a complete holster, okay, because this was basically a product reject. But it is essentially the same thing, just like that. That way you're able to mount your optic to it. And then you can see on the inside of this one, since it doesn't have the clip right here or any other features on it, you can see where that lock lines up to go ahead and lock the trigger guard in compared to the one just below it. Okay, you see right there? So that is this piece right up here. And if you look, that's the trigger guard, okay? So that's how these holsters lock in, and that is mostly so that you don't have to worry about the trigger getting depressed while it's in your holster, because as we all know, Glocks have a trigger safety right here, but they also have two other safeties inside the weapon, okay? One of them is the sear, and the other one is another section of the pistol that's linked into the trigger so that if the trigger's not depressed correctly, the firing pin can't move, all right? So I figured I'd show you that. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together and do some torture tests on it a little bit later on in a different video. So if you guys have any questions on this particular holster, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. I'm going to be doing another video on a Safariland holster. I've got a level 2 and I have a level 3 holster chassis itself, but my level 3 holster is actually rigged up to be a level 5. Okay, so we'll talk about a couple of things when it comes to that one. And you guys can argue all you want on retention levels, but it is what it is. All right, so go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you liked anything about this video, leave a like on it. Make sure you share it with a friend, because things are getting a little iffy nowadays, and being able to protect yourself is important, but being able to protect your firearm from anyone else is even more important than that. Okay, so hit that subscribe button if you're interested, leave a like on the video, share it with a friend, and don't forget your notification bell, and I'll see you next time when I beat the crap out of this. You take care.